Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit going on in the world today. In Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum has been voted in as the country's first female and first Jewish president by a landslide victory. China's defense minister Dong Jun made a public statement today that Beijing is committed to peaceful reunification with Taiwan, but that the Chinese military is ready to forcefully stop their independence and destroy the separatist movement. In the United States, in Akron, Ohio, someone opened fire at a birthday party late last night, killing one person and wounding at least 24 others. The police do not have any suspects and are offering a reward for any information leading to an arrest. And Dr. Anthony Fauci voluntarily submitted to questioning by the House Oversight and Accountability Select Subcommittee, answering questions about his handling of the COVID-19 outbreak. He reiterated that he has not been part of any cover-ups, and though the possibility exists that the virus was born in a lab, the evidence still suggests that it was born in nature and jumped from animals to people, probably at a wildlife market in Wuhan. He remains open to new information, though, if it could be provided. He was also grilled on his social distancing mandates, such as the 6-foot rule, which he said wasn't his guideline, but created by the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention before they'd learned how the virus was spread. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit going on in the Middle East. The United States has presented a 3-stage ceasefire proposal for Israel and Hamas. The UN will vote this week on whether or not it will back the proposal. 4 more Israeli hostages that were held in Gaza have been confirmed dead by the IDF. A military spokesperson said that the men died months ago, but operations only recently gathered enough information to confirm. Another series of Israeli airstrikes on Rafah and Khan Yunis killed at least 12 people. The Maldives government stated that it plans to ban Israelis from entering the country. And Hezbollah has been firing rockets and drones at northern Israel from Lebanon for the past few days, causing multiple wildfires to spread in addition to the destruction. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit that happened in the United States today. The House of Representatives passed legislation that would sanction the International Criminal Court for issuing an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It will be voted on by the Senate tomorrow despite opposition from the Biden administration. Attorney General Merrick Garland appeared before the House Judiciary Committee where he defended himself against accusations of contempt for withholding audio recordings from the federal probe into Joe Biden's handling of classified records, and the claim that the department was behind the New York State court prosecution of Donald Trump. Joe Biden signed an executive order to temporarily shut down asylum requests and immigration acceptance at the U.S.-Mexico border once the average number of daily encounters tops 2,500 between official ports of entry. And of course, that'll go into effect immediately as the threshold has already been surpassed. And his son Hunter Biden's felony gun possession trial has resumed. Like other trials, I probably won't report on it until there's a verdict, but there could be some interesting developments since they're showing videos of Hunter being fucked up on drugs to prove the illegality of his gun purchase. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit going on in the world today. In India, after 6 weeks of election voting, the results are in, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's National Democratic Alliance coalition has won a majority of parliament seats. But it was a closer race than previous elections, and the margin of majority is much less than it had been. Indonesia's President-elect Prabowo Subianto condemned Israel's actions in Gaza at the Shangri-La Dialogue Conference. He also said that Indonesia is willing to send peacekeeping troops to Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel's security minister Itamar Ben-Gvir stated that Israel should declare war on the Lebanese Shiite militia known as Hezbollah. Hezbollah's deputy chief Sheikh Naim Qassem responded, saying that they are not seeking to widen their conflict with Israel, but that they are ready to fight and will not allow Israel to secure any more victories. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the weird shit that's happened recently. In Amsterdam, a man was sucked into a jet engine at Schiphol Airport. Police have yet to ascertain whether it was an accident or intentional. Hashtag castor oil has been trending on TikTok, with posts claiming that it has health benefits if you drink it. I don't normally use my platform to tell people how to live their lives, but don't drink castor oil. China unveiled a rifle-firing robot dog during a joint military exercise with Cambodia, and that's some scary shit. Russia launched something into space a couple weeks ago. They said it was a satellite, but the US believes it to be some kind of anti-satellite weapon. And though Russia denies this, they haven't specifically explained what the purpose of the launch was. And over the past week or so, North Korea has sent a total of 3,500 balloons carrying a combined estimated 15 tons of trash and feces over the border into South Korea. This past weekend, North Korea said that they would stop as long as South Korea promised not to send any more anti-North Korean leaflets over as they have in the past. South Korea responded by suspending a rapprochement deal that they had in the works with North Korea. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit going on in the world today. In Sudan, the Rapid Support Forces attacked the village of Wad al-Nura, killing between 100 and 150 people, injuring hundreds more, and adding to the more than 7 million people already displaced by this ongoing conflict. Ukraine struck logistics and artillery locations inside Russia, and I've seen a lot of reports saying that this is the first time they've used US weaponry to do so. I know that Biden recently gave the okay publicly, but I also remember reports of Ukraine striking Moscow with US-provided long-range missiles back in October, so maybe they want us to forget that. Israel bombed a UN school last night, killing nearly 40 innocent people, according to Hamas officials. According to the IDF, however, this was a targeted airstrike on as many as 30 Hamas and Islamic Jihad fighters gathered inside. And after CNN reported on a hospital-turned-prison in Israel's Negev desert, where nearly 1,500 Palestinian prisoners were being held in captivity in abusive and inhumane conditions, Israel has begun scaling down, with plans to transfer all but 200 detainees out of the facility. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit going on in the world today. In Syria, a school bus careened off of the road and into a river, killing at least 7 people and injuring 20, mostly children. And there were literally no videos for me to duet on TikTok, so I'll include a video in this weekend's newsletter. Houthi security forces detained 11 United Nations staff and aid workers in Yemen. And in Gaza, the temporary pier constructed by the United States and Israeli militaries, which broke apart last month, has been fixed, and the much-needed humanitarian aid should be arriving in the coming days. And I want to make 2 quick corrections. The first is that earlier this week I reported that you should not drink castor oil, and I should have been more clear. That castor oil is safe to consume, but the TikTok trend is specifically meant to make you shit your brains out. And the woman in the video behind me has nothing to do with it. And yesterday I mentioned that I remembered Ukraine using US-provided missiles in a strike on Moscow last October, but I was misremembering. The news from last October was that Ukraine had used US-provided missiles to strike Moscow-occupied territories within Ukraine. Anyways, follow me if you give a shit.